Alright guys, I started on Dino's build, which was supposed to be my January viewer mod watch, but it quickly turned into the February one because waiting for parts and finishing up Homer's watch and all that good stuff. But I'm not going to do the full assembly thing. I'm going to do a little video here. We're going to pop this crystal out, and I already have these dies set up for this one to press it out, so it's like the jack in the box when it pops out. It's like you're scared, just waiting for it to jump out at you. Oh man, that one's really in there. I'll tell you what, this is probably, it's funny that Dino ordered this on Amazon and sent it to me, because this guy has been probably the best built SKX I've seen. The bezel action on it was super tight. This crystal's, man, really in there. Don't make me go get the hammer. Wow, that bad boy is in there. You know what? I think I'm fighting against the dies. The last one I had the bezel on, and this one I don't. Hold on, I gotta solve a problem. This one. I gave up on the other one. Did it already pop? I don't think it did. I think the dies just moved on me. Yeah. I forgot to hit the record button. I just got the crystal out, so I don't know. That thing was super in there, but it's out now. So out with the hard Lex, and now we're gonna do this guy popped out too. A lot of times the chapter ring will pop out when you do the crystal, which is fine on this one because this build we're going to do a brushed insert. So now I will inspect the crystal gasket. I'll get the crystal out and I'll show you that. Kind of chunking it up so it's not super long. Guys, bear with me. This is the chapter ring. You go ahead and drop this in. You got to put this in before you do the crystal, because the crystal kind of holds it in place. And this is a full brushed one. Everything looks good. So now I have the Namoki's double domed crystal with blue AR on it. In case I didn't mention, Namoki's donated all of these parts for this build. So big props to them. They make super good quality stuff at really good prices. So now I have to try to get this bad boy in there. Just a little tight fitting. Or not fitting. So I know your angle's not that great, but it's more important to me to see that everything is square and that I get the installation as clean as possible. That's more important to me than you being able to see what I'm doing. I need to see what I'm doing. And I'm going to do the workaround method on it and slowly get it in there. Probably being too picky in the beginning here. Now I'm never really sure of the actual depth. It's probably easier to do this with the bezel still on, because then you can see your depth better. So I don't want to smash this thing down in there, you know. But it looks to be going in square, which is the problem I was consistently having with the other presses. Yeah, you can see it sink down in. So it doesn't have like a strong side or anything like that. It's fairly consistent across the plane. I think we might be all the way in. It looks to have a fairly consistent reveal, so All right, so I'm gonna do a little more work and we'll see. So I got a good crystal install. The crystal looks really good. Now I'm gonna do the bezel install. So anything that requires like pressing or jarring motion or anything like that, or prying on the bezel or anything like that, I like to do it with the movement out. So, but what I did is I put the case back on and I put the crown and stem assembly in, because I have the internal of this case actually fairly clean. I see a couple little specks, but before I put the movement, dial, and hands, and all that assembly fully in, I will do a thorough cleaning of that. So I'm trying to get better at getting that done in one time without any or very minimal debris, because I have to almost allow a little bit of debris. That's just unfortunate. But so the next part is, I think we're gonna go with this guy here. So I'm gonna end up installing, I'm not, the last thing we're gonna do is the bezel insert, so ignore that. But I'm gonna put this bezel, this is the Namoki's coin edge bezel, which has a really cool, so there's tons of different, and I'd like to do a video of just Bezel Selection, but there's so many awesome brands out there, and each one of them have subtle differences. So, you know, if you look at, you know, one brand, like this is Loom Ceramics bezel over here, you can see it almost has like a little taper going up. So if that's the look you're going for, boom, get theirs. You know, if you're looking for one like Namoki's here, their coin edge, they have this polished flat part or angled part on the top here. So when you're looking top down, it's going to have a little bit of shine on the outer side there. I think that's a really cool feature. And then you look at, I'm pretty sure, I don't know where this one came from. This might have been the one that came off from Homer's build, which this might be a Crystal Times. I honestly don't know which brand this one is, but you can see they're all just so different in subtle ways, you know. And then here's like a sub style one from Namoki's. This will be going on another build at some point, but right now I think we're going to go with this one. So I'm going to get that installed. Then I have to build the movement. So there'll be a whole separate video. So I think I'm just going to post this video up showing basically case work. So I'll get this on and then we'll look at the case and then we'll do a separate video for the movement. So here's what we're looking at. We're going to put this guy, this is the Clickspring or whatever you want to call it, but you can see there's tabs here. And then on the case, there's actual holes that those tabs are going to line up with and drop down. So you got to do that, which is another thing you need to keep in mind when you're popping. And I think there's other videos out there, but when you're popping the bezel off, you don't want to pry. You know, there's certain spots you don't really want to pry because you could damage the spring. So see these parts that are popped up on the spring steel ring, those are the parts that grab the underside of this guy where it's geared or whatever. So that gives you your clicking sound, and it also makes it so it doesn't backspin on you. So it makes it so it's unidirectional. So once you get that on there and everything's good, you got to make sure you have the gasket in there. And I just put a little bit of silicone grease in there, oil. So I'm going to press this on. I did this in the past with that Murphy bezel. You can just use hand pressure and push it down. And that's totally fine to do it that way. But I am going to try to do it in a more evenly controlled way, which is maybe not the best way because you got to think about how this is machined. You almost maybe would be better having one side snap in and then work its way around. But I like to just do things my own way, so I'm going to do it this way. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so once it's installed, then we can give her a turn, and that is a nice, clean, tight fit. So you got to watch that. Should be, you'll have to work it around a little bit and get that gasket to kind of seat in. So this is a nice, this is a good tension. I like this tension on it. It's where it's kind of difficult to twist it by hand. In the, but when you got this on wrist and you have the bracelet on and everything like that, you're going to be able to use some torque. So the only other thing, so that's full casework right there. So the only other thing we're going to do is now I got to build the movement and everything and get everything lined up. And then we're going to, the last thing we're going to do is line up this, make sure everything's lined up perfectly, and then we'll case this bad boy up, and then this build will be done. And then we can get it to the new owner. So thanks Namokis for sponsoring this build. So far, all the products, the crystal, the bezel, the insert, everything looks top notch. So I'm excited to do some more builds with them, and definitely be using some of their products on some of my own personal builds. So, all right, guys, I'll see you on the next vid. The next one, I will do the hands and dial swap. So this will be case one, and then the next one will be hands and dials, and then we'll place that in the case, and the watch will be complete. So thanks.